If your full leather shading looks off, even with highlights, it's usually because your highlights and shadows aren't following one consistent light direction from top to bottom. In this video, I'll show you the exact lighting logic I use for this full leather outfit, so you know where the highlights, shadows, and creases actually go. No guessing, just a system. I make easy to follow Procreate tutorials for beginner fashion illustrators with a step-by-step shading process you can repeat on any outfit. In every video, I focus on lighting logic first because once the lighting makes sense, everything else becomes easier. When I first tried shading full leather, I thought I just needed stronger highlights, so I increased the contrast, added brighter streaks, and layered more shine. It looked glossy but still wrong, and the problem wasn't the texture, it was inconsistent light placement. Shine only works when it follows texture. Now let's do it together on this outfit. First, we'll define the light source. For this example, the light is coming from top front. That means the upper brush catches the strongest light, and you'll get shadows underneath. These areas will be in shadow. Next, we'll follow the curve of the body. Since we're using the top front lighting, the belly catches light in the center. The torso curves backward, so you'll get shadows along both sides where the form tends away from the light. And because this is tight full leather, the center highlight becomes stronger and cleaner. You may see thin highlights along the sides, but they won't be as strong as the highlights in the middle. And the brightest point remains the upper brush area. Finally, we'll place creases where the body compresses. So creases appear where the body bends and compresses. You'll see that most at the waist, and a little around the belly and pelvic area. For a more realistic look, these waist creases should extend slightly outward, like this. Creases comes from compression, not decoration. Faux leather follows the same lighting logic as basic shading. The only difference is sharper contrast. So when your shadows define the form first, your highlights stop looking random. That's why I recommend mastering basic shading before jumping into textures. And once you're comfortable with that lighting logic through basic shading practice, rendering textures like this becomes much easier. So if you want the exact shading order I use every time, check out my book From Ugly Drawings to Beautiful Dresses. The checklist in chapter 6 is simple: shadows first, highlights second. And you can use it to keep your lighting consistent on any dress. So next time you shade full leather, don't start with shine, start with one light direction, build the form, then sharpen the highlights. That's how you make it look intentional, not random. If you want to learn more about basic shading, just click the video on screen. I'll break it down step by step.